Hello, and welcome to this WAS webinar. I'm Elna Rudolph, the president of the World Association for Sexual Health, and I'm coming to you from South Africa today. We are very excited to be sharing with you and to hopefully also get you excited about what's going to happen at our 27th World Conference that is planned for Brisbane from 16 to 19 June this year. So it's a great honor for me to host this webinar on behalf of WAS and to bring some great speakers together here today. And I would like to invite you to tell us where you are joining us from in the chat. We have Canada here, we've got Australia and South Africa, and I am sure, please don't feel shy to tell us where you're joining from. I hope it's all over the world, because we would love for people from every country in the world to come and learn about sexual health at our World Congress. There is never a better time to come together. Many people have asked us if this conference will be going on because there is such a threat to sexual health and rights globally, but there has never been a better time for the global sexual health community to unite, to come together. Many of us need a pat on the back and for our hands to be held a bit, but we all need to be encouraged, and we all need to have the fire in our bellies reignited with the evidence base, the research that fuels the policies that makes this world a better place and that enables sexual health and rights for all. And that is the vision of WAS. If you are new to WAS, if you don't know much about what the World Association for Sexual Health is about, we are here to, I'm here to tell you just a little bit more about it. Our vision at WAS is sexual health and rights for all. And we are the global organization with a focus on and a dedication to advancing sexual health, rights, justice, and pleasure for all globally. We are specifically focused towards professionals in these fields, and we are here to support those professionals, whether it is through getting together at a conference, through promoting research, through enabling them with what they need for the policy making. WAS is the professional home for people who work in sexual health and rights. And we have regional federations in all the different areas. There's America, Europe, the Middle East, East Mediterranean, Asia, Oceania, and FLAS is Latin America, as well as Sexual Health Africa. This year is the first time that WAS is actually partnering with our regional federation in this conference. And we are very excited that Asia Oceania Federation of Sexology is co-hosting this conference with us in Brisbane. And we are specifically focused to whatever the area of the needs of each region is, and taking hands with the leadership from that region to make sure that we are bringing not only globally relevant information to the area, but specifically also looking at the needs of the area and taking the expertise from the area into the rest of the globe. And the things that WAS do. If you don't know exactly what WAS is about, the World Association for Sexual Health, you might have heard about the organization, but not sure exactly what we keep ourselves busy with. Well, one thing is our journal. The International Journal of Sexual Health is a great journal. If you're a member of WAS, or even just a member of a member organization of WAS, like SAS in Australia, for instance, you can, for only $50 a year, gain individual membership to WAS and have access to this incredible journal. And as you can see here, this particular picture was from 2023. It was volume 35 of the journal. You get access with that subscription to all of the previous issues of this journal. Really a resource that's worth investing in if you are working in sexual health and rights. And World Sexual Health Day is something that was founded by an Australian, Rosemary Coates, and for since 2010, WAS has been the custodian of World Sexual Health Day globally, and it has been celebrated in over 60 countries. And this year, the theme for World Sexual Health Day is Sexual Justice, What Can We Do? So we invite you to mark the 4th of September in your calendars and to already start thinking about how you can participate in World Sexual Health Day. This is our day where we are not only focused towards the professionals in our field, but actually also towards the general public, to sensitize the general public to the topics that are close to the hearts of the professionals in sexual health and that we believe will lead the way to bringing sexual health and rights for all. We have declarations at WAS, and these are key documents that you can use in your teaching, you can use it in your research, you can use it in policy making, and these URLs, if you take a picture or quickly scan each of these URLs, it will take you directly to the declaration. So in Turkey, when we had our previous conference, the Sexual Justice Declaration was launched there. It's a Congress declaration. At this conference, the official Sexual Justice Declaration will be launched. And then we have the Sexual Pleasure Declaration that has really changed the direction of research globally. We can see how there's so much more interest in sexual pleasure research and the importance of sexual pleasure research in policymaking. And then, of course, the WAS Sexual Rights Declaration. Many of you are very familiar with this document, and it is as relevant in 2025 as it was in 2014. And then you can follow us as WAS if you click on this URL, you will see, but we can also share it in the chat. We are on Instagram, and we are on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And we also have a newsletter that you can sign up for. If you're not receiving the WAS newsletter yet, please make sure that you sign up for it. Every single week, there's relevant information from WAS going out in that newsletter. And then, of course, our conference that's coming up is the big work that WAS is busy with at the moment. The first WAS conference was held in 1978 in Rome. And from there on, as I said, this is the 27th Congress of WAS. One of our gold medal winners for this year told me that he has attended 22 of the 27 conferences, and that is really remarkable. I haven't missed a WAS conference since 2011 when it was in Glasgow, and I can tell you that it really changed my career to attend a WAS conference. It's not only the knowledge that you gain for your specific field of work. In my clinical practice, I'm a medical doctor. I work with sexual medicine on a daily basis. I was so inspired. I learned so much. But the main event at a WAS conference is actually those small interactions that you have with the like-minded individuals. So I hope that what you hear today will inspire you to come and learn more about WAS, see how you can participate in WAS in a more meaningful manner, and that you will come and play the important role of a participant at the conference if you have not already submitted your own abstract. So with that, I would like to introduce you to our first speaker here at this conference, and such an important person. Oh my goodness. If the Congress president, I was the Congress president in 2021. It's a massive job. It's a huge responsibility. You really are the kingpin that have to bring the scientific committee together and the organizing committee together and the local host committee together. So thank you, Armin, for everything that you are doing. You're doing a great job. We are very happy with you as our choice for Congress president, and thank you for doing this next presentation. So I'll just give you a bit of background about Armin. Dr. Armin Ariana is the president of the Society of Australian Sexologists in the Queensland branch and a member of its national board of directors. As a clinical sexologist and associate professor at Griffith University School of Medicine and Dentistry, he has dedicated his career to advancing sexual health education, LGBTQIA+ inclusion, and global advocacy. His work has earned numerous accolades, including the 2024 Australian Sexual and Reproductive Health Alliance Innovation Award, the 2024 Griffith University Vice-Chancellor's Excellence Award for Innovation in Learning and Teaching, and a Global Impact Grant from the Higher Education Academy in the UK in 2022, a Dean of Learning and Teaching grant in 2021, and a Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Excellence Award at Griffith University 2019 and 2016. Armin is widely published and respected leader in sexual health education and advocacy, and his extensive body of work includes peer reviews, publications, books, and innovation patent in his field of interest. He develops and leads innovative sexual health courses, supervises PhD students, and drives initiatives to advance sexual rights, justice, and pleasure. As Congress President of WAS, in 2025, Dr. Ariana is dedicated to amplifying the diverse perspectives and fostering meaningful dialogue within the global sexual health community. Armin, I don't always read a person's full bio, but it is such a beautiful bio and such a testimony to how you have dedicated a lifetime to this subject and dedicating even more time with a young family and lots of other things also going on to this great cause. So thank you very much, Armin. I will hand it over to you now.
Thank you very much, Elna. That makes it even more fun to put yourself in a challenge. And I'm hoping that I make it as casual as possible for all the amazing audience who are here with us and those who are listening. The timer gave me a little bit of a stress, so let me quickly jump in to say why WAS is a big deal to us, all of us in WAS, SAS, and all around the globe. It's not just a conference, it's the world's biggest gathering of expert advocates and professionals shaping the future of sexual health, right, justice, and pleasure. As Elna mentioned, with speakers from WHO, UN agencies, and leading researchers around the world. This is where I believe that the global conversation is happening. And if you're working in this space, this is your very rare chance every year happening. It's a very rare chance that you get to connect, share, and see everything on the international stage. You might ask why Australia has been selected, apart from the competition that we did and the proposal that we put together. But Australia has been known as a leader in progressive sexual health policy and research. We have a very vibrant, inclusive, and diverse community. And Brisbane is the coolest city in the world. Sorry, but it is labeled as the happiest city in Australia. It is ranked amongst the top globally, and the timing is quite right. It's unlike what you might imagine that is winter in Australia might be. It's not freezing and it's not cold at all. It's mild and perfect for exploring. You can take a short trip to Great Barrier Reef, one of the 7 wonders of the world, or relax along the river with amazing food and boutiques and all the beers and fancy stuff that you can see around with world-class coffee and everything else. The last time that was in Australia, I was probably a student, but 2007. And this is one of those events that happen very rarely and you get a chance to see. And since then, we have done huge shifts in sexual health rights and justice, both locally and globally, from advancement in the LGBTQIA+ right to better access to reproductive health, sex workers' rights, sex education. Australia has been at the forefront of many of these critical conversations. The Society of Australia has been long at the forefront of sexology, sexual health, right, and inclusive health education. And the Society of Australian Sexologists, or SAS, is a key player in professionalizing the field, training experts, and advocating for evidence-based sexual health care. And our approach in sexology is collaborative, innovative, and globally recognized. So this Congress is a chance to showcase how we work, share our success, and learn from international colleagues. And this is your chance to be part of something amazing and massive, whether you are presenting, hopefully, or attending to learn something, or even sponsoring our event. That would be wonderful to see you all. And who you will see, I'm lucky to see or have some kind of access to see a couple of names. And I can promise you, you will see the most influential voices in sexual health, right, and justice. We have UN leader, WHO expert, top researcher, and legends like, with permission, Eli Coleman, Gary Dowsted, Justin Garcia, Pedro Nobre, Kinsey Institute, many, many more. I can't just name everyone. It's like many, many amazing superstars to my board, at least. And it's hard to name them all. But it's not just academics. There are activists, clinician, educator, industry leaders who are coming to share their insight too. And whether you are here to learn, have some challenging ideas, you want to make connection, this is where the most of the conversation in sexual health will happen. I would also like to have a few seconds with business owner and industry. If your work, if your environment touches anything on sexual health, wellness, and right, this is your audience. From cutting edge research to new products and services, VAS is a prime opportunity for you to showcase your brand, your mission, and your products. So exhibitors can have access to hundreds of professionals. There is a fancy schmancy QR code scanning facility that you can get leads for your business, or you can pass the message of who you are and what you do, and a platform to network with key decision makers in sexual health. Plus, there would be a free public event that we are planning to have, and the door will open to public, and you will get a visibility for your business for reaching a broader community in Australia. So a Congress that we are not just talking and presenting, it's a movement. Every person in this room will play a role in shaping the future of sexual health, whether you are a researcher, a clinician, educator, activist, or industry leader. This Congress is about turning knowledge into action. VAS 2025 is about collaboration, learning, pushing the real change that benefits everyone, everywhere, and every time. And that was our message. And for many of us, this might not happen quite often. So it would be VAS in Australia that would be shape the field. And I'm hoping that you will experience this opportunity as a milestone in your lifetime. Things to do quickly, just give you a little hint and trick. Brisbane isn't just a conference destination, it's an adventure for you all if you are interested into going to the nature. There are a lot to see: Great Barrier Reef, falls, mountain, waves, ocean, everything around. And it's just in very proximity distance. You don't need to go too far. You will see the wildlife of Australia, which is amazing. Previously, we would say you can hug a koala, but I think you can't cuddle anymore, but you can still touch them and take photo. You will see the biggest crocodile in the world here, and you can spot some amazing creatures that you won't see anywhere else in the world. And don't just limit yourself to the Congress. After the Congress, you can go hunting for secret spot, from boutique beers to restaurants, the secret gardens, any type of coffee is just around the corner. Technically, on each street, you can find a very good one strong single espresso, or if you're into, I don't know, matcha, oat, decaf, you can find whatever you want. We are a coffee city. And then I think I have one more thing to say. Yes, we do have amazing hallmarks that represent 75,000 years of culture in Australia. Brisbane Museum and Queensland Museum is just near where we are gathering together. If you're into cooling out in the outdoor area, Mount Coot offers you a stunning city view, and the Botanic Garden is perfect escape, the picture in the middle. And let's not forget, the 2023, we are hosting the Olympics, and it would be something that everyone else has come to visit. So it will be your chance to come and see Brisbane before everyone else does. And I'm hoping that we will be able to be a good host and welcome you all. And if you have any question, you can drop me a line, send me a message, and I'll look forward to see you all here. I also like to introduce a very dear friend, a colleague, a role model for me at least. Terry Humphrey is a full professor. He's doing an amazing job with our scientific committee, and I appreciate the deep knowledge and the speedy approach they have in accessing and reviewing and editing and commenting. Terry is a full professor in Department of Psychology at Trent University, Ontario, Canada. He is the editor of Canadian Journal of Human Sexuality, and a consulting editor for the Journal of Sex Research. He is also past president of the Society of the Scientific Study of Sexuality and the Canadian Sex Research Forum. His research interests focus on negotiation of sexual consent in multiple contexts, sexting behavior in young adult, first sexual experience, and unwanted and coercive sexual encounters. Thank you very much, everyone, and hello, Terry.
Well, hello there, and thank you very much, Armin, for that very nice introduction. I am Terry Humphreys. I'm coming to you from Canada. That's my home country, and I am the vice co-chair of the scientific committee for WAS. But I also certainly want to mention my other members of the scientific committee, my co-conspirators, if you will. Dr. Eric Janssen is our fearless leader of the scientific committee, and Dr. Kristen Mark is the other vice co-chair. So together, we are kind of leading this endeavor. But keep in mind, there's three of us kind of talked about as the scientific committee, but there is actually, the scientific committee consists of a large number of people who are involved in, to greater or lesser extent, in organizing the conference. Certainly we have local organizers as well. Armin is leading that charge. But there are many people involved in reviewing all of the work that people submit to the Congress, and we work very hard on scheduling the Congress days and what they look like, and we're very grateful for all of those people. In addition, we actually even have a larger extended scientific committee that is specifically responsible for reviewing the Congress abstracts for the meeting. And that's even a longer list of people from around the globe that volunteer their time. So this ensures that every abstract submitted is reviewed by at least 4 different sets of eyes before approval. Again, we are very, very grateful for their international perspective, the judges, on the abstracts that are submitted and their dedication to the WAS mission. So it truly does take a village to create a Congress program. So I want to thank all of them for their passion and their commitment. We certainly couldn't do it without them. So the three of us and our extended scientific committee have been kind of knee-deep in the trenches lately, assessing all of the wonderful abstracts that came in from all around the world. As you might remember, there have been 2 calls for abstracts, one back in early November, and another late breaker round that just recently completed. And we've just finished assessing all of those late breaker abstracts. And there were a lot of them a few days ago. So we'll be getting messages out to that group relatively soon. So the program is coming together. And you will see on the website, slowly but surely, we are filling in the pieces of that program and more details as they get confirmed. If we can move to the second slide, I just want to talk a little bit about how we've organized this Congress. Now, one of our attempts to ensure that most of the areas of sexuality are represented at the meeting is through this creation of tracks. And here you see the 7 tracks that we currently have and for our categorization organization of the Congress. So we have sexual rights and ethics, social and behavioral sciences, clinical sciences and therapy, basic science, sexual medicine, public health and public policy, and education. And those tracks represent a combination of topics and theme areas, but also of kind of professional disciplines. There are likely many different ways to kind of organize these areas, but we think these 7 represent the areas people are professionally engaged in, as well as encompassing most of the topics that are sent into the Congress. In addition, these tracks allow us, or allow any kind of particular topic in sexuality to be addressed from multiple perspectives. So, for example, you could have a topic like sexual pleasure, which is becoming a much more important topically and much more research focused. And you could explore that, though, from the perspective of attitudes in the general population, which would fall under social science research, or from the standpoint of creating more comprehensive sex education. So it might be an educational topic as a therapeutic intervention. So it might be in the clinical sciences and therapy section, or even from a policy perspective. So this approach kind of lets us infuse our main WAS mission, which part of it is pleasure, or topics like sexual rights and justice throughout the program. So that's just one way in which we have tried to help organize all of the many, and quite frankly, there were hundreds of oral presentations that were sent in addition to symposium, in addition to plenary speakers and keynotes. So there is a lot to organize here. So now that you've got a little bit of a handle on the role of the scientific committee for WAS and what we do, I want to turn to the upcoming Congress in Australia and get you excited about some of the upcoming topics. We're just about 3 months away, maybe a little bit less now, from our Congress in Brisbane, Australia. And it's really shaping up to be one of the most important gatherings on sexual health, rights, justice, and pleasure. It really is. And as I mentioned before, the program is still coming together. So I can't do a systematic overview for you here, but I want to highlight a few things, starting with some of the symposium topics. So comprehensive sex education is a perennial favorite at our Congress and many others, with multiple symposia and individual oral sessions examining gaps, as well as initiatives and programs from many different countries around the world. That's part of the fascinating aspect, is to see the difference in the approaches taken to comprehensive sex ed from multiple countries around the world. One of the more recent developments is, the attempt to develop really global sexual health surveys, and our very own Pedro Nobre is actively involved with other researchers around the world to create multilingual sexual health surveys that could be systematically used across countries, much easier across countries, and do those cross-country comparisons, rather than everybody using their own little measure without any systematic research rigor behind it. So for survey researchers, that's a big deal. And I'm really looking forward to checking out that symposium. There's an emphasis on youth. We've had an emphasis on youth for multiple years running within the program that provides the opportunity to discuss a range of topics, from the intimate relationships of LGBTQ and hetero youth to the levels of sexual violence that might be taking place in those relationships. Topics, everything from sexual consent, which is near and dear to my heart because I do research in that area, to youth activism to support their sexual rights. And of course, we cannot ignore the increasing attacks on our sexual rights and freedoms, most recently and very rapidly from the United States, which is my cousin to the south, here living in Canada. Funding restrictions. I just saw a post just yesterday that came through that suggested that many hundreds of NIH grants have been canceled. Those are the main grants that U.S. sexuality researchers and others receive. So anything related to LGBTQ, anything related to EDI, equity, diversity, and inclusion has been canceled, just outright canceled by the Trump administration. So we have these ongoing and increasing attacks from the right. And we have sessions within the conference that are now dealing with the growing conservative ideologues around the world and how to mobilize. So look out for those. Pornography, also a very popular topic at WAS, remains controversial as the general population and researchers alike, discuss the influence of what is now ubiquitous exposure to sexually explicit media, what influence it has on our population, our relationships, and our youth. And of course, in the digital age, the Congress would not be complete. This Congress would not be complete without symposium on the technology and how it's changing the very nature of our relationships. So everything from sex toys to sexting behavior to the possibility of virtual relationships and virtual sex. There is so much more. And I haven't talked about the many discussions or talks that we're going to have on sexual health, sexual functioning, dysfunction, diverse abilities. Shout out to Mitchell Tepper. I think he's in the audience. Therapeutic interventions, and the hundreds of oral presentations that we have. But I'm going to leave it there. We also have a high number of high-profile, world-class keynote speakers coming to the conference, as Armin has said. Those who are already confirmed are listed on the website, and there are more to come. And we have packed a lot into this conference, so I hope you're really getting excited. Just flip to my last slide for a moment. I don't want us to forget one of the biggest reasons, at least that I go to conferences and congresses like WAS, especially WAS, is the global networking with professionals. At what other time do you have an opportunity to network with world-class experts in the field of sexual and reproductive health? Over 60 countries are going to be represented at WAS. There is really no better time. So please, I encourage you to join the conversation. Thank you. And now I am going to actually hand it over. It's my pleasure to announce and provide a bio for Dr. Margaret Redelman. Just let me pull up a bio so I can do this properly. Oops. Got it here. Just one sec. Okay. Dr. Redelman received her medical degree in Sydney and sexual training in the US. She then worked in sexual transmitted disease clinics, family planning clinics, and general practice for many years. She now works in private practice in Bondi Junction as a medical, sexual, and relationship therapist and at Sydney's Men's Health Doubleday. Her work covers positive male and female sexuality, sexual dysfunction, and the interpersonal relationships of both hetero and homosexual couples. She is accredited psychosexual therapist from the Society of Australian Sexologists and is currently on the executive committee of that organization, SAS, National, and the NSW. She has been president of the Asian Oceanic Federation for Sexology, the SAS and the NSSW, and the Australian Society for Sex Educators, Researchers, and Therapists. She has also been the president of national and international sexology organizations. She has actually received the Order of Australia Medal as well. Congratulations, in 2016 for her work in sexual health and sexuality. So I'm going to pass it over to Margaret.
Thank you very much, Terry. Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for attending this presentation. If your appetite isn't whetted enough for coming to the conference, I don't know that I can add very much more, but I want to add a more personal invite. As you heard, I'm a private practice medical sex therapist. And when I started nearly 50 years ago, that was mainly self-trained. So yes, I got a medical degree, I've got a master's in psychotherapy and my training in America, but the continuing education and growth I gained mainly through attending WAS conferences, AOFS conferences, and my own national SAS conferences for the not just the conferences, but also the educational programs that this community provides for us. And I was a founding member for SAS. The goal really was to educate people who are interested in sexuality so that eventually sexologist becomes a registered title. Because in Australia at the moment, you can be a plumber, hang up a shingle and work. And our patients and clients are vulnerable people. And it's really important that we have these national organizations that push for their accreditation so that quality care is given. And also by attending this conference, not only are you part of the groundswell of this population, but you really present to the Australian government the importance of sexuality and sexual health and sexual pleasure as valid topics for discussion, for education, and for providing that care for people who have difficulties in this area. So attending a conference is a very important socio-political statement as well. Now, coming back to myself, one of the highlights of my career was when I was hugely privileged and very surprised to be given the position of the 2007 WAS Sydney conference. And that was a wonderful experience. It pushed me out of my comfort zone, but was hugely educational and hugely enjoyable. And it opened my eyes to really what WAS is doing in the world. And I think most would agree that the Sydney conference was among one of the best WAS conferences that we've had. And seeing the energy, the enthusiasm, and the know-how that's being invested in organising the Brisbane conference, I'm pretty confident that it's going to be a wonderful experience for everybody as well. But really, why attend a conference in person? I mean, it's so much easier to pay less, not get dressed up, not have to drive or fly anywhere, and watch a screen in the comfort of home. Well, why do we go to concerts instead of buying or downloading? Why do we go to football matches instead of watching on TV? Because we know that the energy and focus that occurs in these face-to-face spaces is different. The opportunity to hear something live can change us as individuals, as therapists, educators, researchers, and socio-political leaders. And that shift in ideas can make us better. And then the opportunity to share these ideas with like-minded people and not like-minded people, but in real time, during breaks in presentations, at lunchtime, in the evenings, that sharing of ideas, you frog leap. You know, you can be a genius with an idea as an individual, but a group of people can frog leap those ideas into much bigger ideas. And this doesn't happen when we read something in isolation or we're watching something on the screen. So attending a face-to-face congress is an encompassing experience. It's so much richer in what it gives you. It's not just education and facts. We get so many benefits from coming to a face-to-face meeting. There's the networking that's already been mentioned. So it's networking of the ideas, but also networking of potential future projects, research, who's doing what, how can we collaborate? So when you have a group of people, it makes it so much more possible than calling someone by phone or sending an email, waiting for a response, bringing people together to collaborate. Here, there is that venue for people coming from all around the world, like-minded people coming from around the world. It's an opportunity to meet old friends and to make new ones. And, you know, from my early WAS conferences, I've made friends that have now lasted for over 40 years. And for, you know, we're in the wellness business, and connecting with people is a wellness task. It's what we're short of. So isolating ourselves with our technology is not good for us. Coming to conferences, meeting people, hugging people, saying hello is really important for us as therapists. We give, well, for me, in my category as therapists, we give so much to other people. We need to also get for ourselves. And at a conference, you get the opportunity, you'll see that that happens. If you're a presenter, then getting feedback on your work in real time from multiple sources can be very growth promoting and encouraging as well. Even getting negative feedback that's given respectfully and that why it's negative feedback is explained is very useful. We learn often more from negative feedback than we do from positive feedback. In this collaborative space, you hear about multiple new developments in a short time, which helps your growth. And not to be dismissed, it's fun. You know, I think sex therapists are fun people, if Hollywood is to be believed, and we have a good time. So it's a very educational experience, but it's also a fun, social, interactive experience. So it really is an encompassing experience. So to join us gives you a lot. And if I could suggest that if you want to get the most out of the Congress, also study the program in advance so you can really highlight the presentations that you want to see and that are most relevant to you and you get the most out of the experience. Just to sum up for my Australian colleagues, it's a long flight out of Sydney to get anywhere. So take advantage of this wonderful professional opportunity that doesn't come too often and come and join us in Brisbane. I can almost guarantee that you will not regret that decision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Margaret. And also thank you to our other presenters. I think you were clearly on point there. I'm excited after hearing you speak. I can't wait to go. And I must say, we received over 500 abstracts. And if you read through that, I'm literally on the edge of my seat wanting to hear what all of this research is about, what this experience is that people have gained, and to really get those clinical pearls from other people working in the field. I just see here that Dr. Jules Black, that many of you will know, commented that we celebrate WAS 45 years in 2023 because it was officially the World Association for Sexology initially, and then later changed to Sexual Health in 1978, but the first World Congress of Sexology was actually in 1972 already. And then, as Dr. Jules says here, I was there in Rome in 78. And isn't it amazing? I've had the privilege a few times where I introduced someone at WAS saying, this person, like Esther Corona, has 50 years experience in sexual health. We now have sexual health departments, as Armin has shown there, at our universities. For me, as a South African, I still needed to go to Australia. I studied at Sydney. It's where I did my master's in sexual health, because on the African continent, we still lack that kind of a progress. But in many areas in the world, there's been sexual health departments for decades now. And WAS is exactly about that, about bringing together this unbelievable amount of wisdom from the elitist few in the beginning that could get together and have sexual health conferences, to now making it accessible to so many more. And as Margaret said, yes, of course, you can get the information online. You can, there's no lack to information, but to be there in person and really getting it from the warmth and the energy of having everybody around is what really makes the difference. So thank you for sharing that with us. I also just wanted to tell everybody here, if you haven't been to a WAS conference, kind of what you can expect from the rhythm of the program. So when we arrive, it's the opening ceremony. There's a few workshops and that happening before the opening ceremony, excuse me, usually on the morning. And then in Antalya in Turkey at the last conference, our theme for the opening ceremony was all the world comes to Turkey, and everybody arrived in some form of traditional kind of kit or something that linked them to their countries. And I think with the massive displacement of people that's happening at the moment, with the huge amount of conflict and war that's happening, people have it's good to carry some sense of identity in that as well, and it's wonderful to physically see how people from around the world come together. So it brings a lot of energy to the opening ceremony to see that. And then we usually have some entertainment there from that's specifically from the country. There will be a smoke ceremony in Australia, and then we will do a few key talks happens. There's the Congress President lecture, which will be a very interesting symposium in this case, and we will then go over to the cocktail function at the end of the evening, which is very nice. Everybody's so happy to see each other, and it's a social that often goes on late into the night as people catch up or get to know each other. And we always have our gold medal lectures, and as I said to Renee, our executive director, this week, like our previous gold medal lecture is like the Nelson Mandela of sexual health. It really is an award that goes to people who've made a massive difference in sexual health, and it is awe-inspiring to listen to their life story. That's what the gold medal lecture is usually about. They share with us how they've made an impact and changed the direction that sexual health and rights took in their region or globally. And we have the Eli Coleman lecture, where the Eli Coleman Institute for Sexual and Gender Health sponsors a specific person to come and do a lecture, which is always very exciting. And we, apart from all of the other interesting topics that Terry and Armin have lifted out that will be happening at the conference. And then, of course, the gala dinner is a great, the last evening of the conference, or on the second last day that evening, there is the gala dinner. That's always a very nice party. We have a great venue planned for it this year. And there's the General Assembly of WAS, and this year at the General Assembly, we will be voting for the next advisory committee of WAS for the next 4 years. So it's a very important General Assembly that's also happening. If you remember, you can attend. We member organizations have voting rights, but it's open to anybody. So I just wanted to also add that so that you know a little bit, apart from the academic stuff, what's happening on the side at the WAS conferences as well. Any other comments from you? Maybe Armin, you started the webinar, so is there something that you wanted to add after listening to our other two guests here?
No, thank you very much, everyone, for sharing and highlighting the most amazing part of the Congress and the topic and the content. And I'm sure that we are all here ready and excited and hoping to see everyone and anyone around the world to welcome you. And I can promise that you will not be disappointed.
Margaret, do you want to add another word?
Unless you come, you won't know what you're missing. And you shouldn't have regrets. So come.
Agreed. Terry, as my co-advisory committee member on WAS and taking the responsibility to sort out this program, oh my goodness. It's a big task, and we realize that there are some people that have dedicated a lifetime to a topic and then they're given 10 minutes to speak, and but that's why you also have to be there, because if you are just watching it online, you will just get that 10 minutes or read the abstract, whereas when you, well, I'm saying watching it online, we are not planning an online conference at all. This is an in-person conference. You have to be there to get the information. So the only thing that you will see is the abstract, but the real value is in chasing that person down after their talk and asking that extra question, or just getting that clarification as to exactly how did they conduct that research, or what is the clinical implication. So Terry,
and even as a fan, you know, getting a picture with the person you've read so much of their work, right? And suddenly they're in front of you. Like, that's just marvelous to be able to do that. It's actually been, you know, it's a lot of work to put together, but it's been a joy to read over so much research that is going on in this field. It's just, it's mind-blowing how extensive and diverse the work is. So it's really been it's been a little bit of an eye-opener and a pleasure to be able to be privileged to read all of that information and then try to fit as much of it as we can into our Congress this year.
Excellent. Thank you, Terry. And yes, to reiterate again that in a time such as this, when sexual health and rights is under threat globally, there's a movement in the direction away from all of the great progress that we have made. It is even more important that we get together, that we share knowledge, that we have evidence-based answers to the direction that we should be taking going forward. So we look forward to seeing all of you in Brisbane. The website address for this conference is was2025.org. So you can go and check it out. We are constantly updating that as we get confirmation of more speakers, as the program gets more and more finalized. You can appreciate that we only recently closed the late-breaking abstract. So the program isn't finalized yet, but it is looking very exciting. So please keep an eye on that. And yes, get your registrations done. And we are looking forward to seeing you in Brisbane. I would like to thank Michelle and Renee in the background for putting all of this together. And thanks again to all of our speakers. And thank you to all of you who participated, whether it's live or whether you are watching this as a recording. It's been great to share space with you, and we are looking forward to bringing sexual health and rights to all.